This is like more of a red pill in general thing, right? But they often talk about the nuclear family. Nuclear family is dying. Feminism is killing it or has killed it. These women are not built for making families. When you preach to people that they need to get 50 bodies before they can really settle down, how is that contributing to the nuclear family?
Hey guys, welcome back to Mika Reacting Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet, same day, same shirt, a different video. And today we're returning to ABBA and Preach. I think it's maybe the second or third video I reacted to them. I love their podcast, YouTube channel. I love basically ABBA and Preach are kind of like reactors, but like they react to whatever the fuck they want to. Like they don't stick to one niche or one genre. They don't react to any music, I don't think. But I love that, and that's kind of like what I would like to be like. They're my inspiration. Today we're gonna react into a video that they did like 5 days ago, and it's basically talking about if the Redpill community is conducive to building a healthy long-term relationship or families. I believe this has 365,000 views and 45,000 likes, or a lot of likes. If you don't know what the Redpill community is, like a lot of people, like there's different definitions of red pill to different people. Like for me, when I first heard the term red pill, it was kind of based off the Matrix, and it was kind of like basically eating the apple from the tree of life. Like you become wise, you see the truth, you're no longer sleep to the truth. You see like behind the screen, right? You see behind what's going on in society, reality, when it comes to government and policies and laws and, you know, like the narrative and stuff like that, right? But like I feel like the manosphere kind of took over the term red pill, and it kind of means the same thing to them, but when it comes to like women and relationship and how marriage works and sort of men's rights and stuff like that. So that's kind of what the red pill community is, and I'm very extremely supportive of men having men spaces that focus on men. However, I do think there is a toxic side to the red pill community, just like there's a toxic side to feminism. I do think that a lot of times when these groups become tribal, they become cultish, they become too black and white and lacking of nuance. But we're gonna see what ABBA and Preach has to say about the red pill community. I have seen this already, and I did edit it down. I didn't edit it to lean to a bias or anything like that. I just sort of took out the, like, you know how they can kind of go on side rants and stuff like that and tantrums. If you've watched ABBA and Preach, you know that. So I just kind of cut that stuff out. But I will be putting the full video down, the link down below in the comment section or description. And if I forget, just remind me, just comment and say, hey, give me the link, and I'll give you the link. Anyway guys, we're gonna get right into it, but before you do, if you like this type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get some notifications when I do upload. All that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop, links down below. Also, if you're an independent artist, you'd like me to react to your song or play it in my intro, email me and let's do business. Alright guys, other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Alright, here we go.
This is like more of a red pill in general thing, right? But they often talk about the nuclear family. Nuclear family is dying. Feminism is killing it or has killed it. These women are not built for making families. And I'm like, okay, I'm not mad at it. You can say that a lot of modern changes that we've made to society definitely do not enable us, right, to have the same type of families that we used to have. Agreed?
Agreed.
When you preach to people that they need to get 50 bodies before they can really settle down, how is that contributing to the nuclear family? How is that contributing to a stable household? You running out here raising your chances of
But
having
I mean, it's something
no,
that
but you running out here raising the chances of having your kids out of wedlock with strangers that you don't even know. You only like them for their looks. Like, how is that choosing, one, a good mother for your kids, and two, creating a stable environment for them when you don't want to be with the mother? Like,
Stopping it there. I totally agree with him. I feel like sometimes the toxic side of the red pill community is like, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander kind of thing. Like, what's good for us is not good for you. And I understand that a lot of people feel like men or women are different, so men and women could just move differently in the world to a certain extent, right? It's not like we are so opposite that we have to literally live completely different lives. Like, there's a lot of overlap when it comes to men and women, even though we have some differences. And so for me, it's like the same way that you have to put on the accountability and the responsibility on the woman to pick carefully who she laid down with, especially without protection, to have children with. That's a lot of responsibility in you. Sometimes, like, it's a hard pill to swallow, but if you got a dead ass beat baby daddy, it's probably because you picked wrong, and some of that responsibility is on you. You can't always help or know what's gonna happen in the future, or know how someone's going to react in the future, because like you can think they're the best person in the world and they just freak out and leave and become a deadbeat. But a lot of times it's because we are not being wise, and we're not making the best decision for ourselves, and we're not doing family planning, and we're running around not using protection when we have sex. But the same thing can be said for men. You also have to be careful who you lay down with and you start having kids with. Like if you want to have a well-rounded, stable, healthy family, don't you want to have children with someone that you can at least get along with, that you can at least have a conversation with, that you're at least on the same page with, that you share the same values and principles and standards and all those things with? You don't want someone that you have to like battle with all the time just to raise your children, or even just to see your kids when it comes to men's rights. You know how the parent court system is when it comes to fathers and men. So you also have to take on some accountability and responsibility what you're doing. And so if someone's preaching to sleep around, never be faithful, always have side chicks, stuff like that, how is that also conducive to building a healthy family? And how does that add to adding positivity to the culture and to the community? Because a lot of times the red pill community is black men, you know, the ones I see. I feel like the red pill community is black men, and then like the rest of the manosphere and the MGTOW and all stuff is usually like white guys. But I'm not saying there's no white guys a part of the red pill community, but what I see is mostly black men. And we already know that there's over 70% fatherless home or single parenthood in the black community. So how is this adding to the benefit to the black community? Just sleeping around and like upping your chances to having more kids out of wedlock with women you don't even like or get along with. Right? So it doesn't really make any sense to me, but let's continue.
I just find it funny sometimes where it honestly feels like we're always pulling at two extremes. These people are like, the nuclear family. It's like, well, what are you contributing to make sure that that thing is staying intact? You're not, right? It's become now a self-preservation thing from women and from men. Right?
Which is understandable.
Right? Women are basically saying, I've been fucked over by society for so long. I didn't have any autonomy. No, none of my dreams mattered. I was basically told to breed and stay at home and cook and clean. So like, no, I'm an individual who wants to do shit. So I'm going to go live my best life. Birth control exists. I want to have all this sexual freedom, right? And women are now discovering that, hey, listen, going around fucking every dude on the block is actually not rewarding. Then you have the opposite end of the spectrum where it's guys, right? And now guys are kind of being left behind, right? Their place in the world is almost gone.
Yeah.
Right? Because like they're not in school as much.
They're not needed.
They're told that they don't want it, right? Women can do all bad by themselves, right? They're being pushed out of education, a lot of workplaces, even the dating market. Like there's far more male versions, there's going to be female versions generally. Like the odds you get laid as an average dude or ugly dude far lower. So finding a mating opportunity becomes much more difficult.
Stopping it there. This is what I love about what they've just said. They saw both sides of the coin. They didn't just, oh, it's all your fault, and it's all your fault. You're the baddies, we're the goodies. They didn't make it black and white. They put some nuance in there. I like the fact that they actually saw that there was a reason why women feel the way they feel, and the reason why feminism actually first started in the first place. Let's forget third wave feminism or second wave feminism. Let's focus on first wave feminism and what this whole self-preservation thing. So many women have been fucked over. Like every auntie I had, like growing up, like every cousin, and I had a lot of cousins, didn't have fathers. None of them. And yes, that is some accountability and responsibility on my aunties, but that's also a lot of accountability and responsibility on the deadbeats who left. And so like you have these women who have been really screwed over and jaded and just left basically just to, you know, fend for themselves and their children, and then you expect them to be like, I want to be submissive and vulnerable and I just want to let the man lead. Like how do you think that's actually going to happen? And feminism started because there was a large percentage of women who weren't happy. They weren't like tricked or duped into feminism. They weren't happy. Yes, there was a large section of women who didn't like move with the feminism movement. There was a lot of women who didn't believe in this, what is it, women's suffragette or whatever. A lot of group of women who didn't even want the right to vote, because back then if you had the right to vote, you had to also be drafted to the army. So that's really the main reason why a lot of women were against it. But a lot of women went for it because they weren't happy. Nobody wants to be told you don't have a choice, you don't have a mind of your own, you can't make any decisions of your own. The only thing you're good for is to spread your leg, pop out babies, and suck my dick. Women wants to be be told that. And so I like the fact that they are acknowledging there are reasons why women feel the way that they feel. And some of it due to crazy far left progressivism, sort of brainwashing university students. Yeah, probably. And some of it is due to the invention of birth control and social media and data apps. Probably. Some of it is due to the free love movement. Probably, but it was sparked because women weren't happy. And so I like that they acknowledge that, and then also acknowledge why men are so upset and why men are so jaded, because they now feel like the table has turned and now they are being left behind. We can go through all of the data of like the suicide rates in men are higher, more men are homeless on the streets, and they actually have less of a social net, because a lot of the homeless social net, especially homeless shelters, are catered to women and children or women with children, and so men are kind of left behind. So there's a higher percentage of men on the street. There are a higher percentage of men who gets violently hurt. Men get brutally raped in prison and nobody seems to care. When young boys get molested, no one seems to care and take more of the most dangerous jobs. Their lives are more expendable from the beginning. They were always drafted at war. They was always expected to put their lives in danger. They was always expected to protect and put, throw their bodies in front of violence to protect everyone else. They're expected to be the ones to run into the fire and grab and save everyone. They've always had a lot of weight, like a lot of pressure on their shoulders. Mental health in men is skyrocketing, especially in young men. And a lot of men, when they try to, like the world says, be vulnerable, and then when men goes, hey, these are our issues, people's knee-jerk reaction is, but what about women? But what about women? Like men can't even get a space or a moment to be like, hey, we're suffering here. Oh, I forgot to even throw out the sort of parental rights thing, where men really have no rights when it comes to shared custody of children. And so I like that they're showing both sides and saying both sides are angry, both sides are jaded, both sides feel like they need to protect what is theirs. But what is not actually happening is communication and coming together and talking about the nuance of the situation. If both sides just keep blaming each other, pointing fingers at each other, calling each other trash, you ain't shit, you ain't nothing, blah 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 blah, what do you think that's really going to do in the long run? That's just going to create a bigger rift, a bigger wound between the sexes, and it's just going to still be the downfall of traditional families or family structures or households, because women ain't going to sit there and constantly be told they ain't shit and lower your standards and all that stuff. And I get that some people are delusional, but the way it's being told, most women are going to be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll listen to you, and most men are going to be listen to women when women are saying that all men are dogs and trash. So no one's having a conducive conversation with one another, at least on the toxic side of the red pill community and the toxic side of the women's spaces, you know what I mean? And so like what we need to do is actually come together and like heal. Anyway, let's continue.
Right? And so they engage in this self-preservation thing where they're like, well, women are to blame for my issues. The modern woman is not worth even dating or spending time on because they're entitled, twerking, loser, stuff. You know what I mean? Then the women are like, well, these modern men are just misogynists who want to perpetuate the patriarchy and not take the responsibility. So we have both sides.
Nobody's talking to each other.
Both sides being like, the other's the problem.
And nobody's talking to each
right?
other.
And even you hear them sometimes. You hear ladies be like, girl, you're the prize. You're the best.
Yes, you
right?
hear that.
Guess what?
They'll lower your standards.
Guess what? I started hearing the red pill dudes be like, man, you're the prize. You choose when the relationship happens. So they're doing the same speech.
I'm glad he pointed that out as well. To me, at least, the toxic side of the red pill community is just a male version of feminism. And all I really see in today's version of feminism is point the finger, blame, and victim culture. And so I feel like it's just transforming into the same thing. A bunch of men not looking themselves in the mirror going, what can I do to help my situation? Not to say that your situation hasn't been shed on, not to say that you haven't had like an unfair life or a disadvantage or you weren't taken advantage of or finessed or anything like that. We're not saying that, but you can always take a look at yourself and go, what did I do to contribute to this? Just like if a woman sleeps with a deadbeat, the deadbeat leaves, she puts all the blame on the man instead of looking at herself and going, what could I have done to prevent this? What part did I play? And so then you just turn yourself into a giant victim instead of taking any accountability into what you're doing and taking your power back to create the life that you want. So for me, I'm not even saying, again, let me make this very clear. I am not talking about the entire manosphere. I am talking about the toxic side of the Redpill community. And we all know what side that is. If you have been watching or paying attention to the Redpill community, you know what side that is. And so for me, it's just like when I watch it, I'm just like, you sound like a bunch of feminists, in my opinion. You're just blaming women, and women are just blaming men. Like, it's the same thing to me. Anyway, let's continue.
They're doing the same speech, but to a different crowd that's disaffected or disenfranchised when it comes to the dating market.
Like every bad step they take, they blame it on each other.
Yes.
The man and the woman.
Yes.
This is a, you guys are purple pill. Shh, I don't care. I'm not a pill, I'm a human being. Okay? Yeah, but I don't even abide by the rules that you go. So you can call me whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. But everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else.
Yeah.
For the bad step that they taking. It's like I take a bad step.
Yeah.
Nigga, why did you make the floor crack? That's what they're doing.
Yo.
But so it goes on. Everybody's mad. Everybody's mad.
Here's a discussion that you have to have at some point. The things that will lead you to having the opportunities to succeed aren't the things that are going to keep you succeeding. Meaning, I might have the great flash idea that's going to make up for a great business plan. But what sustains a business is a completely different set of skills. Why am I saying this? Because a lot of the times, the ideas that are focused on within the Redpill community, like the mantras, are great for getting women. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, these things will work if you want to get laid. But when it comes to sustaining long-term relationships, those are not the skills that are going to help you with that. You might need to be brazen and confident and do all this other stuff to be able to get there. Cool. But once you get in a relationship, you have to understand the importance of compromise. It's like, what's your end goal? Right? My end goal, I want to be married at some point. I'd like to have a few kids. I'd like to be able to be with the mother of my kids, right? That's important to me, right? I don't play with that. I don't want to frivolously have kids like that. Zero interest in doing that. What they teach, right? Other than, like, guys, understand what marriage is, which I think is always a good idea because you should know what you're getting into if you're going to sign that contract. Other than that, none of it's conducive to the ideas that'll help you sustain a long marriage.
No, a lot of it is about clout. We talk about showing off and bags, and it's a lot of things about, like, pickup artist thing. You know, when you have to peacock and stuff like that.
Yes.
The cars, the this, the that, and this and the third. That's peacocking. That's based on pickup artistry.
Stopping it there. The whole peacocking thing. Everyone peacocks. Men and women peacocking in different ways. Women dress themselves up. Men flash what they have. But what, again, on the toxic side of the Redpill community, when they constantly preach about basically teaching men how to gain material possessions, how to get more, like how to look like a high value man, have a fancy sports car, Lamborghini, have a bunch of bling, look a certain way, and then place yourself in certain communities where you're going to attract only women who are opportunists. Because you are dressing yourself up, you're peacocking to get that certain woman because you're trying to show a woman, like, look what I have. I have money, I have materials, I can offer you things. And so you're going to then attract that type of woman who are just going to look at you as an opportunity because they're opportunists. And then when the inevitable happens, then you complain about opportunistic women. It's like, well, then why are you creating a scenario where that's what you're going to attract anyway? Because a regular ass female isn't going to give a fuck about if you got a Lamborghini or a Rolex or a Versace suit. And I know so many men are convinced that all women care about that shit. I am telling you, not all women care about that shit. But the problem is, and I like when he talked about how, like, the women's circle and the manosphere, toxic side of Redpill community, kind of do the same things. I see a lot of Redpill communities say that women are delusional. Men are just as delusional as women. Let's not get it twisted, okay? This idea that, like, you want a girl to look like an OnlyFans girl. You want an Instagram thought-looking girl. But you want her to love you and support you and being traditional and stuff like that because you're dressing yourself up. You're putting yourself in certain communities so you can find that girl. So you can find that Instagram hottie model, OnlyFans model girl. But then she also has to be, like, super modest and a good Christian wife or something like that. Like, that doesn't really mesh. If you put yourself in certain communities and you peacock as if, look at all the flash I have, look at all the money I have, I'm high value, come look at me, you're going to attract a certain type of woman. Don't give a flying fuck about you, your being, or anything else. She only cares about what she can get from you. So why would you even put yourself in those situations to beat those kind of women anyway? Doesn't really make any sense. It's not conducive. Let's continue.
But I had a father and a mother next to me to show me how a family was working. And that's not something that you're going to find in any book or any pickup artist is going to be able to show you.
You know, you used to say this a lot, but you say like a lot of this just comes from a place of hurt. But the world doesn't do a good job is acknowledging the struggles of both genders in a way.
Or of men. They don't. Of both genders.
If you want to say especially men, I would be entitled to agree with you, right? Men's issues are often being placed on the back burner or being told they're unimportant. And if you bring them up, you're an incel, you're a men's rights activist.
Or when someone just opens up to you, just look at the Super Bowl. 50 Cent was fat. Lizzo was empowering.
Stopping it there. First of all, there's nothing wrong with being a men's rights activist. That's not a negative thing. And I totally agree. I think society in general, especially in the West at least, women's issues and women's struggles are very, very much acknowledged. They're talked about all the time. There's whole freaking university courses on it. Right? There's books, there's lectures, there's seminars, there's posters everywhere, there's motivational speakers. But when it comes to men's issues, like people might be aware of them and they might know about them, but they're not really talked about and they're not really acknowledged, and it almost seems like it's not that big deal. Sweep it under the rug. We can take care of that and talk about that later, right? Anytime I ever get in a conversation with someone about men's rights, the first response I get, and I already said it, is, what about women? The conversation can't even stay focused on men. It always goes back to women. And so I do feel like it is unfair, and a lot of men, young boys, do feel like they're unheard. Again, you ask them to be vulnerable, but then when they are vulnerable, you're like, whatever, just think about women, only hear about women. If you're a feminist, it would just help everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, no, like, they want to be heard, they want to be seen as well. And I also like the fact that he brought up that he had good parents, and he had a really good example. And that is not something you can teach. And unfortunately, there's this toxic cycle that's going on of fatherless homes that the toxic side of the Redpill community isn't going to heal that. It is not going to fix that. Just like the toxic side of feminism is not going to fix that. It's not going to heal that. The only thing that's going to do that is understanding, self-responsibility, accountability, family planning, and communication. All right, let's continue.
Right there. Go ahead.
And so you create a section of society that feels alienated. It feels like their issues are not voiced. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that video I did before where I said like the red pill is necessary. It's like, well, you got no platforms to really speak to these dudes. You get what I'm saying? Like, you mad about who they found, but you don't even allow for healthy alternatives, or don't encourage them, or don't support them, or don't feel like they're valid. Right? Only now you're starting to see people be like, all right, I see men's issues like to some degree, but it's like it's taken a long time. Right? There's been a lot of suffering that these people have endured and been told, like, your problems are invalid, right? In the same token, it's like women were saying, like, yo, listen, this man put his hands on me, right? He did things to me, and everyone's like, nah, that's not real. It's like, well, you know what? That invalidation will affect you.
Call the police next time.
Yeah.
Next time she did.
Stopping it there. Again, they're acknowledging both sides, which is nuance, and I love nuance. He said that, yeah, men aren't even allowed to have healthy alternatives. Like, we've seen feminists actually protest when men have like meetings together and stuff like that. But I would disagree. There are a lot of healthy alternatives on YouTube. I just think people aren't looking in the right places. I watch a lot of male motivational videos. I just am attracted to those. Like, I watch a lot of the videos that talk about how to be stoic and strong and self-accountable and responsibility, all those things. So to me, that is healthy. That is a healthy male platform. And even though women are allowed to watch, you can tell that is definitely focused on men. People who, look at philosophy like Carl Jung and stuff like that. There are a lot of healthy alternatives. I think people, because when he talked about earlier, a lot of times people are hurt and people are jaded, and so they're gonna go to the place that speaks to that jadedness and speaks to that hurt and almost validates that pain, because a lot of people feel like their pain isn't being validated because they're not being listened to. But at a certain point, when someone's just stroking your victimness, it doesn't actually really uplift you and push you forward after a while. So at some point, you have to kind of walk away from that and go talk to someone who can actually give you the next steps forward so you can become, better off. Anyway, let's continue.
That's messed up.
You know what I'm saying? So in the same token, women have dealt with issues for a long period of time as well, right?
Yeah.
Where their stuff was invalidated.
Yeah.
Now they're being heard for, and it's great, go. But now they're thinking like, man, y'all ain't got problems. Are you serious? You know what I mean? Like when we own most of the self-deletions, you don't think we got issues? Like what you talking about, right?
Important.
Right? When dudes getting shafted in family court and in marriages, like what are you talking about? Like I would lose my mind.
Definitely.
I would lose my fucking mind if I was married to somebody. I'm off to work. She banging the next dude. Now I gotta leave my house and I gotta pay her a bunch of money. I would lose my mind. It's impossible as a dude not to read that shit and be like, oh nigga, it couldn't be me.
Stopping it there. I just watched a really tragic Dr. Jordan Peterson interview when he interviewed a father who got falsely accused of being violent, aggressive, or domestic violence, and literally ripped not only his life apart, his children's life apart, and his whole family's life apart. Even his wife, who started the whole thing, got smacked in the end anyway. And so like talked about like basically how the family court and these lawyers are like vultures. They don't give a fuck who they're hurting. They will manipulate the situation to try to get as much money as they possibly can. It was sad. If you want to see it, it's on my community tab. I posted it there. It's like it broke my heart. And to this day, he still doesn't even have a relationship with his kids because of alienation, like parental alienation. Like the guy was almost homeless, and he was a very successful man before that. And he was almost homeless because of false allegation and just a fucked up family court and a fucked up social service system, where they very much always assume the man is in the wrong and the woman should always just get the children no matter what. Anyway, yeah, sad. So in the beginning of this video, they did talk about men should be educated about marriage. I do believe that. I think men and women should go into marriage understanding the legalities of what marriage is, and if it does fall apart, what happens and all that stuff. Be educated. I know love is love, but there's nothing wrong with educating yourself, right? All right, let's continue.
It couldn't be me. Here's the thing. Just because you're in that place of hurt doesn't mean everything that you hear that appeals to you or that's calling to you is for your good. When I worked in telemarketing, we had people we knew who were at risk, who were susceptible to scams. Mm-hmm. Who do we target? The people who were susceptible, right? So what they would do, right? And I call it a scam, not because it actually was. No, it wasn't a scam.
I know what you're saying.
It was completely legal.
Yeah.
But if you worked inside, you knew it was a scam.
You target the people that are old, lonely, that don't have nobody to talk to. Definitely.
So what I'm saying is, you as a man also have to ask yourself, are you angry or upset or bothered by a certain thing? If most of us are honest, we're probably going to say yes to some degree. Because if you've seen female entitlement, if you've seen a lot of this nonsense, there's reasons, okay? I'm not saying what you're feeling is invalid. I'm saying that I get it. But you have to ask yourself, because you have this emotional response to some degree to things that you see happening into the world, can people prey and manipulate on that?
Stop that. Stopping it there. Yep. I think one of the easiest ways to control and manipulate someone is to basically tell them everything they want to hear, everything they feel like they've been missing, everything they've been wanting to be told, to validate every emotion and every feeling and validate their victimness and just massage it and play into that, point out everybody else and then tell them they're special. Tell them it's not you, it's everyone else. They don't just understand you're the prize, you're the special one, they're the losers. It's like textbook 101 how to control someone. Every cult leader does it. Continue.
Manipulate on that. And it takes a lot of self-reflection to be like, you know what, I was a bit susceptible. You know, if I'm looking at this objectively, I can agree that some of this is not good. Here's what you're going to notice also a pattern of. These dudes who are out here fucking left, right, and center doing all this other stuff, generally they have a lot of kids out of wedlock. Generally, it's hard for them to hold down a relationship or a marriage. Some of them have never even been in a marriage. They just go from girl to girl to girls sometimes at the same time. Now you have to ask yourself, do you want to be doing that for the rest of your life? So maybe there's some things in how they're living their lives and the things that they're preaching that is not for you.
So basically what you're saying is are you pissed off? And if you're pissed off, are they feeding you being pissed off? And if they're feeding you being pissed off, is it from a good place or they're just preying on you? Were you ever pissed off?
Yeah. But through learning and life experience, I've had to learn that some of the things I was pissed off about were unjustified. Also, some of the ideas that I completely thought. Here's when I get really like, if I get weird. If I see someone being dogmatic, I take a step back. If you see the world in too much of a black and white, because I know my life has been gray. I know the things I've been dealt with have been nuanced. I had to learn through observing the world that like, yo, maybe some of my ideas is not good. You know, when I'm seeing stable relationships that are lasting 25, 30 years and I'm observing these people and how content and good they are with their life. And you got people telling me, yo, marriage is useless and all this other stuff. I'm like, but what they're living is showing me something completely different. It seems like there's a tremendous amount of value in that. You know, I've seen how they don't apply to this whole idea that the man always leads and like they're not so rigid in everything and yet they find a good balance and it seems super healthy. Like that interests me. I have to open my eyes to be like, I can't view everything in a black and white. The bad news is that black and white is a lot easier. It is. BLM people are bad.
You don't have to
Trump
think.
Supporters are terrible people. Anti-vaxxers are to blame.
You don't have to
people who are
think.
vaccinated
You don't have to
are
think.
really. You don't have to think.
You don't have to do the work to think, to be able to analyze things. That's the thing that's hard. Analyzing. Taking a situation and taking yourself out of the context and being able to analyze that. That's the thing that's hard.
Stopping it there. Yeah, I totally agree. Critical thinking is a dying art. It is really easy for people to just think in a black and white, even if they don't actually live that way. People live in a gray area. Life is nuanced, right? And this is why I've said multiple times on my channel, I don't align myself with political labels and stuff like that because they become tribal, and tribal usually have cultish thinking, and then you just start thinking in black and white, and like there's no nuance, and everyone's the enemy. And then you just shut down conversation, and there's no coming together. So for me, I totally agree with that, and I see that in both cases. I see that on the toxic side of the red pill community, and I see that on the toxic side of feminism, where it's black and white. Everyone's the enemy. Every woman is trying to finesse you. Every guy is trash. Like, that's not life. You know how many people are on the planet? Like, come on, that's not life. And so, yeah, like you have to. And then when even. Well, I don't even know which one is which, Abba or Preach, said that they used to be angry and they had to sit back and actually look out and really analyze what they were feeling and what they were thinking, and then seeing some of it wasn't even valid. Like some of it didn't even make sense. And again, it's really hard for people to reflect on themselves because no one wants to be the problem. Everyone wants to be the victim, right? And so, but when it comes to maturity and real alpha men know how to do that. All right, let's continue.
But if everything is already chewed up and be like, you already have an opinion, that's like that. I didn't have to think about that. I didn't have to think about myself. I didn't have to think for myself to be like, is it really like that?
Yeah.
How does thing really function?
Yeah.
What's the statistic on that? How does that really work? Who really does that? But that's asking all those questions and having the hands and finding the answers to that is really hard.
Yeah. Just keep your eyes open. That's all, man.
Alright, that's it, guys. Tell me what you think of the video, what they said, what I said. I understand I'm a woman, so maybe I shouldn't have an opinion about men's spaces. And let me make it very clear, I am very happy that there are a lot of men on the internet right now trying to help other men uplift themselves. Like people like Dr. Jordan Peterson and all these other guys I've been listening to lately who are more about motivation and getting your shit together and being self-accountable and being stoic and all those great things. I'm glad they're here. There is no bashing to that at all. Like men and women getting healthy is conducive and benefits everyone. I don't necessarily think everyone needs to get married. I don't think that's everyone's path, and that's fine. But if that is what you want, don't let anybody scare you away from it. You know what I mean? And then find healthy alternatives to get where you want. And if you don't want that, you want an alternative relationship, make sure it's still healthy and conducive to what you want, especially if you're going to bring kids into the world. Alright guys, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get some notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal mail link is in the description box below, and also in the comment section. Of course it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program or my brand new Patreon. Different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below. And they also have a second travel vlog channel, I travel as a lifestyle or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go in the description box below, and also in the comment section, hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date, and you guys have an amazing day. Bye!